my name is Officer Hopkins. I'll be conducting your naturalization interview.
Tip number 1. The USCIS officer may ask you questions before you enter the interview room or office on the day of your naturalization interview. It's also known as small talk. These short and simple questions will test your speaking ability if you understand the basic English language.
How are you feeling today?
Hello, officer. I am a little nervous, but okay now.
Are you well prepared for your interview?
Yes, officer.
Follow me, please. Please come in. Before we begin, I have to place you under oath. Remain standing and raise your right hand. Feel free to place your belongings near your chair. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's start with your eligibility, then information about you.
Tip number 2. Some USCIS officers will ask if you have any questions before the interview starts. If you have concerns, ask them now so that you can fully focus on the entire citizenship interview questions. However, if you are sure that everything is fine with your N400 application, then there is no need to ask any questions before the start of the interview.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Any questions before we start?
No.
Why did you apply for American citizenship?
My family is here and I want to vote.
How did you acquire your green card?
I was married to an American citizen.
Please show me your green card, passports, and state-issued ID.
My green card, my passport, and ID.
How are you eligible to become an American citizen?
I had been a legal permanent resident for about 14 years.
Let's review your application to correct any changes.
Tip number 3. When the immigration officer asks for your full name, it means you need to say your given name or first name, followed by your middle name, a name between the given name and family name if you have one, and then followed by your family name or last name.
Your full name, please.
My full name is Juanito López Gonzalez.
Your other names used since birth, like nicknames.
My nickname is Juan.
You can change your name today for free. Would you want to legally change your name?
No, sir. Thank you.
What's your social security number?
708988254.
What's your email address if we contact you?
juanlopezgonzalez@yahoo.com.
When is your birthday?
My date of birth is August 20, 1967.
What's your phone number in case we contact you?
714-224-8865.
What's your country of citizenship?
Mexico.
Do you have any physical disability or mental impairment?
No.
Are you ready for the civics test?
Yes.
Tip number 4. The immigration officer who will be assigned to your naturalization interview must be courteous and professional. He must repeat or rephrase the questions if needed. He should also check if you can hear his voice loud and clear.
Tell me if I need to repeat the question. Can you hear me well?
It's okay, officer.
All right, let's begin. I'll ask you up to 10 questions and you need to answer 6 of them. Name one state that borders Mexico.
California.
Who wrote the Declaration of Independence?
Thomas Jefferson.
Who does a U.S. Senator represent?
Could you please repeat that again?
Of course. Who does a U.S. Senator represent?
All people of the state.
Who was president during World War I?
Woodrow Wilson.
What is the one reason colonists came to America?
Religious freedom.
When was the Constitution written?
1787.
You answered 6 questions correctly. You passed the civics test. Let's proceed to the reading and writing tests. Listen to this sentence and write it down on the tablet. California has the most people.
Could you please repeat that again?
California has the most people. That's correct. Please read the sentence on the tablet.
What state has the most people?
Correct. You passed the English reading and writing tests.
Tip number 5. In part 3 of the N400 application, there are questions related to an applicant's biographic information. These are usually connected to the physical attributes and characteristics that are connected to the body. Examples include height, weight, hair color, eye color, race, and ethnicity.
Let's go to biographic information. What's your ethnicity?
Hispanic or Latino?
How tall are you?
5 feet and 7 inches.
What color are your eyes?
Brown.
What color is your hair?
White.
Tip number 6. Information about your residence in Part 4 of the N400 application is important because it helps the USCIS officer verify continuous residence during a naturalization interview, which is a requirement for naturalization. If an immigrant applicant has been outside of the United States for more than 6 months but less than 1 year, he or she may need to submit documentation for continuous residence. Failure to do it could result in a denial of the N400 application. Immigrant applicants must also keep their address current with USCIS.
We'll continue to your residence information. What's your current home address?
5432 Alon Street, Santa Ana, California.
Are you still living at the same address?
No.
Has your address changed?
Yes. 7654 Bailey Street, Santa Ana, California.
Tip number 7. In Part 5 of the N400 application, information about your marital history, inform the immigration officer about a new or recent marriage or any marriage abroad so that your N400 application will also be updated by the USCIS officer on the day of your naturalization interview. Any marriage, separation, or divorce in foreign countries needs to be added to the N400 application form.
Let's continue about your marital history. Are you single, married, divorced, or widowed?
I am widowed.
How many times have you been married?
One time only.
What's your wife's name?
Alicia Gonzalez.
How many times has your spouse been married?
One time also.
Tip number 8. In Part 6 of the N400 application, information about your children. The new version of the N400 only requires information about the applicant's children under 18 years of age. The importance of children under this age is that some children may automatically become citizens when their parent naturalizes through a process called derivation of citizenship, which allows a child to automatically get U.S. citizenship based on their parents' citizenship or immigration status. The information that the applicant provides in this section will allow USCIS to determine whether the applicant's children will automatically receive American citizenship. It is also important for the parent applicant to provide child support for any children that he or she has. This can be a biological child, stepchild, or legally adopted child, either residing with the applicant or does not reside with the applicant. List all of your children on your naturalization N400 application form. A failure to inform USCIS about all of your children could be viewed as a misleading statement, and this is against good moral character because you are providing false testimony.
Let's proceed about the information of your children. Do you have any children?
Yes, officer.
Your child's name and date of birth.
Alejandro and Juanita. The twins are 14 years old.
Are they attending school?
Yes.
Are you supporting them?
Yes, officer. It's hard to take care of the kids as a single parent. I had to try my best to give them a better future.
What you are doing is good.
Thank you.
No problem. Let's talk about your parents. Is your mother or father a U.S. citizen?
No.
Tip number 9. In Part 7 of the N400 application, information about your employment and schools you attended, the applicant needs to say the employers, including military service and schools, for the last 5 years or 3 years. You also need to inform the USCIS officer of the present employer and the work that you do if asked. Know the dates and addresses of work and schools attended and employment because these could be asked on the day of your naturalization interview. Compare your answers on the N400 application that you submitted to the USCIS.
We'll proceed to employment in schools attended. How do you support yourself?
I am a restaurant manager.
Where do you work?
It's a Mexican restaurant called Tacos y la Enchilada.
Are you still working with them?
Yes, officer. I work from Monday until Saturday.
Are you attending school?
Yes.
What's the name of the school?
Nursing Program Academy. This is my dream job and will hopefully graduate this semester.
That's great.
Thank you.
The pleasure is mine.
Tip number 10. In Part 8 of the N400 application, time outside the United States is important, since this is the time that USCIS knows if the applicant has long absences as a lawful permanent resident. Longer travels abroad can cause the applicant to have abandoned his or her lawful permanent resident status. USCIS has access to any information obtained by other government agencies, including Customs and Border Protection, related to the issue of abandonment. Since they have a list of dates of the applicant's departures abroad and returns to the United States, trips to neighboring countries like Mexico and Canada are trips outside the United States. And this counts as time outside the U.S. too. Applicants don't count as absences from the United States that lasted less than 24 hours only. If the applicant left the United States for more than 6 months or moved to another country after receiving residency in the U.S., then he or she needs to prove for not breaking the continuity of American residency. An applicant needs to submit evidence like not terminating employment in the United States, IRS tax transcripts, continued home and lease or mortgage, or maintenance of U.S. bank checking or savings accounts proving continuous residence in the United States was maintained.
Let's discuss your time outside the United States. How many times have you left the U.S. in the past 5 years?
I had 8 trips.
Tell me about your last trip.
The recent trip was in the first week of December last year.
Do you remember the day you returned to the United States?
Last week of December.
What's the total days you've been outside the U.S. for the past 5 years?
About 100 days.
Tip number 11. In Part 9. Additional information about you is an important part of the N400 application form. In the last or previous N400, the questions in the new forms Part 9 have more difficult vocabulary words that are not used in everyday ordinary English language. Most USCIS officers don't ask for definitions of words, but there are still a few officers who will test an applicant's knowledge about the N400 word definition. The updated USCIS scoring guidelines for the U.S. Naturalization test clearly state that the ability to understand English will not be based on being asked to define a word or phrase found in the form N400. However, citizenship applicants still report that definition questions from Part 9 topics still happen during naturalization interviews. Because of this, we still encourage applicants to learn the definition of words found in the N400 application form to pass the speaking ability test.
Have you ever claimed to be an American citizen?
No, officer.
Have you ever registered to vote in any U.S. election?
No.
Have you ever been confined to a mental institution?
No, never.
Have you ever failed to file your taxes?
No, officer.
Do you owe any overdue taxes?
No.
Do you belong to any organizations or groups?
Yes, I belong to a local church group.
What's the name of the group or organization?
St. James Catholic Church.
Have you ever been a member of a terrorist organization, totalitarian, or communist party?
No, never.
What is your understanding when you can hear these words? Totalitarian party.
It promotes leadership where a ruler has a total authority over everyone.
Have you ever served in a concentration camp, prisoner of war camp, labor or transit camp?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever committed a crime?
No, never.
Explain to me this word. Allegiance.
Is loyalty to the country.
Have you been involved in not letting someone practice a religion and forcing someone in sexual relations?
No, never.
Have you ever been a habitual drunkard?
No.
Have you supported someone entering the U.S. illegally?
No, never.
Do you support the Constitution and form of government in the U.S.?
Yes, officer.
Are you willing to perform non-combatant services in the U.S. Armed Forces?
I am very willing.
And are you willing to take the full oath of allegiance to the U.S.?
Yes, I am.
Do you promise that everything you've said is true?
Yes, officer.
Please review your application and check if everything is right. Check the spelling of your name and other details.
Everything is correct, officer.
Sign your name on the digital tablet. You've passed all the tests. You've met all the requirements. I'm recommending your application for approval. Once my recommendation is approved, you'll get a USCIS notice in the mail.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your achievement today. Here's a copy of your test result.
Thank you so much, officer.